Hey y'all, welcome to Heritage Ways. I'm Miss Katie from heritageways.com, where we honor home, celebrate heritage, and spread hope. This is Project 54, where you will find 54 consecutive videos about cooking, and each week we have a different theme. This week has been classic casseroles. Today we're going to do one that may or may not be a classic in your home, but it has been in our home since the early 1990s when my husband used to go to Western North Carolina, to Highlands, North Carolina, to celebrate our anniversary each year. And it is there where I bought a fundraiser cookbook to help them build their hospital. And I found in that cookbook baked ziti. There are so many recipes for baked ziti on the internet and Pinterest and everywhere. There wasn't Pinterest back then. In fact, we didn't have cell phones and computers back then in our home. Ever since the late 1980s and the early 1990s, I have been making this for my family, and it is just so delicious. I'll tell you a couple of variations, and like I said, you'll find this all over the internet, but I hope you will stay tuned and jot this recipe down, and maybe it'll become a classic casserole in your home from this point forward. So welcome to episode 15, the last one of this week, Classic Casseroles, Baked Ziti. I just want to make a couple of points before we get started. I'm going to use 1 to 2, probably 2 or almost 2 jars of sauce. These are 24-ounce jars. And I want to point out that you can use whatever type of sauce you like, whether it's got meat or vegetables or mushrooms or what have you. I like to look for one that doesn't have sugar as one of the first main ingredients, and this has minimal ingredients, which is good because it doesn't have a lot of preservatives. I've never heard of this brand, and I'm not promoting any particular brand, but I bought all of these flavors to show you that you could just mix it up and use whatever you want. So this is meatless traditional, this is meat flavored, and it does have beef and pork stock in it, so no meat but the flavor. And then this is pepperoni flavored, and it has more ingredients. It does have real pepperoni in it. And this is garden style, so, and it is chunky. So whichever one, I know there's mushroom or whatever kind of sauces out there, use whatever you want. Also, you can certainly make your own. And I do like to do that. I love to make my own sauce. But this is an easy to pull together supper for company or your family. So it's really easy to pull together if you have these sauces in your pantry. Also, you're going to need the ziti pasta. I actually got this marked down at an Amish surplus store. You're going to need cheese, and I want to talk to you about that as well because I bought this lasagna blend, and it's got mozzarella, provolone, Asiago, Parmesan, Romano, and Fontina cheeses. So I think this is going to be better with our ziti because it is kind of a lasagna blend, but you can just use regular mozzarella. So I do have the lasagna blend here that we're going to use, which is this. And then I do also have regular mozzarella that we're going to use on top, or vice versa. Another thing I want to point out is I use Italian seasoning. I make my own, but I happen to be out today. So I actually have this pizza seasoning blend that I pulled down, and I just want to encourage cooks out there, especially new cooks, to not abandon a recipe just because you see an ingredient or a method or something that might, you know, frighten you, or that you don't have the ingredient. Many times substitutions are out there and they're allowed, especially when you're making a casserole, which is what I'm calling this dish today.
Let's hone our hospitality skills. A purchased casserole from the freezer department at the grocery store works just fine when you can't make homemade. It's the fellowship that matters.
I have my oven set to 350. I am boiling 1 to 2 quarts, about 2 quarts of my pure water I get from my Berkey. And I'm boiling the water, brought the water to a boil with about a tablespoon of salt, Himalayan sea salt. When you're cooking pasta, they say you want your water as salty as the ocean. So the water is boiling, and I'm going to just cook this ziti according to package directions, and that's about 9 minutes. I'm going to pull one out and show you that ziti is a tube shape. If you're not familiar, it is a tube-shaped pasta. So I will let that come back to a boil, and I'll boil it for about 8 minutes or so. I'll go ahead and spray my dish I'm going to use. Now this happens to be a large one because I know this recipe makes a lot. And I'm going to be baking it. I want cheese over the whole area, over the whole top, as much as I can get. And I don't want a deep dish. I don't want this in a deep dish. So I want this spread out with more area to get hotter faster and for cheese to cover. And this one is a 15 by 10 by 2 inch. So what I'm going to do, just to have this already done, I'm going to use this coconut and avocado spray from Aldi, actually. And just spray that and set it over here to the side. I'm going to choose my 2 sauces and get the others out of the way. So I think I will go with, just randomly choose. We'll go with the meat flavored and the pepperoni. Okay. I have my hand mixer out today. And I'm going to mix my cream cheese, 8 ounces of cream cheese, 2 farm fresh eggs, of course these eggs, you could use 1 if you wanted to or had to. These eggs are going to allow it to set up. With my cream cheese and my 2 eggs, I'm going to go ahead and put in here a container of ricotta. Now this is, I know they come in different amounts, 12 to 16 ounces I've seen. This one is 15 ounces. So I'm going to just say a medium size container as opposed to the larger ones that I've seen. So 12 to 16 ounces. Now one thing you could do if you didn't want to use ricotta, and I've done this as well, you can use small curd cottage cheese. It's going to have a little more liquid in it than the ricotta is. It's 2 different things. Ricotta cheese is actually a byproduct from making mozzarella cheese. So cottage cheese is a totally different product than ricotta. But I'll tell you a secret. One of my children, my adult children, claimed he didn't like cottage cheese in his food. So what I would do is I would put it in the food processor and blend it up really well to where it was just a creaminess, and I would use it in my Italian dishes, and he never knew the difference. I'm going to use the hand mixer to mix the ricotta, the cream cheese, and the eggs. That's it. It's just so much easier with the mixer. You want to get that cream cheese incorporated very well, and there you go. We are going to go ahead at this point, and I'm going to add my Italian seasoning. Now, like I said today, I'm substituting this pizza seasoning blend that I actually purchased at a bulk food store, actually when we were traveling in Missouri, near Mansfield, Missouri. So I'm going to use about a tablespoon. It has the Italian seasoning, but it's also got dried onion and garlic. Good stuff. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and add what was my package of Italian or lasagna cheese. That particular package is 8 ounces. So I'm just going to say anywhere from, I'm going to say approximately 2 cups. So, you know, don't sweat it if your package is not 2 full cups. Stir the noodles every now and then. Make sure everybody's getting a good bath in that hot water. At this point, I'll use my spoon to stir up those herbs and that lasagna cheese or Italian cheese blend. Noodles are done. I have drained them in the sink, and we're going to come over here and just add them directly to this cheese mixture. The heat of the noodles is actually going to soften that cheese a little bit more. As a side note, I did not rinse the noodles. Just put them all in here, then I'll get it stirred up. Oh, yum. While I am gently stirring these al dente noodles, I will tell you that a lot of folks put meat or sausage in their baked ziti. A dear friend of ours here in Mid-Ohio, where we now live, Miss Becky, brought us some baked ziti a few weeks ago when I was studying for my homeopathy classes. And I thought I had never tasted anything so good. She either put sausage or meat in hers, and it was wonderful. So absolutely, if you want to do that, then feel free. Now it's a rich golden color because of those farm fresh egg yolks. I can already smell the herbs that have been woken up from the hot noodles. Of course you could use a 9x13, but just know it will be full. The next step is to take one of our jars of sauce and pour it on top. Now, if I were doing something different, like if I were using this to cook spaghetti, I would probably put some water in this, shake it up, and pour it out to save every little bit that's in there. But since I don't want extra water on my ziti, I'm not going to do that. But I do that often. It's a frugal tip to get every last bit out of the jar. And of course, you can save the jar for other purposes, storage and so forth, or recycle. That smells good too. And I want to cover my noodles. This is something you can put as little or as much of sauce as you want to. That's about, that's probably 3/4 of that jar. Now, one thing I do is I've always kind of just made sure my sauce kind of went down in my noodles a little bit like that. Kind of learned that after years of eating this. Okay. Now, my original recipe that I said I got from Highlands, North Carolina cookbook says that you can use the extra sauce on at the table, or, you know, if you want to dip your bread in it or what have you. Then I have 2 cups of just mozzarella cheese, and I'm going to sprinkle it on top. I don't know if you love Italian like we do, but it is one of our favorite types of food to eat. Italian. You can put 1 to 3 cups on the top if you want. In the oven, 350, until it is hot and bubbling. That's approximately 20 to 30 minutes. You could go straight to the refrigerator like this if you wanted to. If you wanted to make it today for tomorrow's supper, you could go straight to the refrigerator, but make sure you pull it out about 30 minutes at least before you want to bake it. And you might have to adjust the cooking time just a little bit. But this is great to put in the fridge and have for the next day. Well, I checked on it after 20 minutes, and before I even opened the oven, I knew it wasn't done. Do you know how I knew? Because I didn't smell it. A few years ago, our family was involved in the deaf ministry at church, and we would often have fellowships with our deaf friends. Well, one time I asked them, in sign language of course, I said, how do you know when the food is ready? And they said, well, we smell it. Because, you know, they can't hear the buzzer or what have you. And they said we just smell the food. And that is so true. That is so true. So I knew after 20 minutes it wasn't ready because I didn't smell it. Ooh, I sure smell it now. Let's take a look. Oh, y'all, have you ever? Oh. Mercy. So I baked this approximately let's see, 35 minutes. Mercy. Why not decorate it with some fresh parsley? Oh, y'all, this is great. Add a salad and bread. Woohoo! Ooh, man. Oh my word. Yep, another winner. You know what? I think it can use a little salt. So maybe we should have added some salt to maybe the noodle cream cheese layer. Now we have a winner. Thank you for joining me on Project 54. I'll see you next week, and the theme is special sides. Won't you please tell somebody this weekend what's going on here at Heritage Ways. Tell them we're cooking all summer long on Project 54. Invite them to join in and share some of these wonderful recipes with the Heritage Ways community. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.